to have you come to your side on the floor. So you're going to lay with your knees stacked on top of one another and your hips stacked on top of one another. Your hands are going to start down by your knees, okay? And for your head, if you have a little pillow or a blanket or something that you want to put underneath for a little head support, go right ahead. If you want to tuck one arm underneath for a little support, you could do that as well. If you want a little bit of a neck stretch, feel free to let your head hang down. So you're going to start with that top arm, and we're going to circle with palm down as far as you possibly can. And at that last second where you feel like that shoulder needs to rotate for that palm to flip up, let it slowly turn over and rotate down to the hip. Once you get to the hip, that palm should be facing up, and you're going to lead with your thumb rotating back. So arms is going to be as close as it can be to the floor, palm up as long as it possibly can. Flipping over at that last second when you need it to, back to the knee. We're going to go again. Lead with the thumb, the palm is down, reaching overhead. Try to keep those shoulders and hips stacked on top of one another. Palm flips up at the last second, all the way to the hips, and then reverse it. Good. We'll go two more on this arm, and then we'll switch sides. So reach as far as you can, palm down. Nice and slow. When that shoulder needs to rotate, flip that palm up, all the way down to the hip. And rotate with the palm up as long as you possibly can. Let that shoulder slowly rotate. Palm down, back to the knee. Go one more on this arm. Lead with the thumb, reach as high as you can, or above the head as far as you can. Keep that hand close to the floor. Good, all the way to the hip and reverse. Nice. Go ahead and come up. Can switch sides. Same idea here. Hands at the knees. Again, tuck that arm underneath for a little head support if you'd like. Thumb is going to lead the way. Hand is close to the floor. Reach overhead. And then flip that palm up at that last second that you need to. All the way down to the hip and reverse. Nice. Back to the knee, lead with that thumb. Reach as far as you can, nice and slow. Turn that palm up, that shoulder rotate. Palm up at the hips and reverse. Excellent. Lead with the thumb, reach overhead. Arm as straight as you can all the way through the movement. Try not to let that elbow bend. All the way down to the hip. Reach with that palm up on the way back as long as you possibly can. We'll go two more on this arm. Reach with that thumb. Palm down as long as you can. Flip the palm up all the way to the hip. And reverse. Palm up as long as you can hold it. Palm down as you come back to the knee. One more. Go ahead and reach. Straight arm. Slowing down in any of those areas. Kind of pay attention to where your body wants to speed through. It usually wants to rush through an area. It doesn't feel very stable. Good. And relax. Nice. Go ahead and sit up. Nice little chest opener, shoulders. I mentioned the lungs being a big part of the heart chakra as well. And our breath and being able to breathe deep into the diaphragm is also greatly associated with the function of our lymphatic system, which is our immune system. okay? So we've got a big pocket right here of lymph that we can kind of vibrate on a little bit, and that will help push it. So what's weird about the lymphatic system is that there's no pump for this system. We have to pump it ourselves through movement. So you've got lymph nodes, you know, under your armpits here. So by rotating those shoulders around, we start to move some of that lymph. You've got them in your neck, moving your neck around, your hips, your knees, middle of your back. They're all over, ankles, okay? But through movement is how we pump that. It's not like your circulatory system where your heart pumps your blood through. So you have to pump it. So we're going to support that a little bit by giving ourselves some little taps here on the chest. So you're just going to make a little flat palm. You can get as weird and as wild as you want with this, little Tarzan style here. I want you to take a nice big inhale through your nose, feeling that breath fill up your ribs and your diaphragm. And then on your exhale, you're going to give yourself little beats on the chest here. And if you want to let out a sound, that's a really nice vibration for the inside of the body as well. It gives all your little organs in there a little massage. Okay, so go ahead and take a nice big inhale through the nose. Fill up that belly. And as you exhale, give a little pound. And start to take notice of how long we can let that exhale go. So let's take another inhale through the nose. Fill up that belly full of air. One more time, exhale. Nice. If it made you giggle, I win. That's what I wanted. All right. So we've got our lymph pumping through. We're starting to open up. We've got some energy flowing through our body. So let's get into some more with the elbows and the shoulders. So we're going to start with our elbows. As I mentioned before, your shoulders are a point of mobility. They have a lot of movement freedom. If you notice, you know, the way the palm rotates, that's a lot with our shoulder mobility. We can reach up, we can reach back, behind. It goes in a lot of cool directions. Our elbow is a point of stability. So the better that our elbow or shoulders move, then the stronger our elbows are. The more stable that they are. The less our shoulders move, then maybe the more pain we start to feel lower down in our arm and into that elbow. So we're going to start by just getting some nice fluid as well into that elbow joint by rotating our fists around. So I'm extending my arms all the way, bringing my fists in towards my chest, and then I kind of whip my arms out, kind of snapping that elbow open. And the more momentum that you can get with this, the less tension you're holding in those joints. So feel free to kind of play with the speed on this as much as you'd like. Try to keep those elbows fixed in one point, and you're just moving everything below. Good, and then go ahead and reverse it. Extend the arms out, so momentum on the way away from you, and then pulling the hands in towards the chest. Good. So this is an open chain of movement here in our elbows. And just to show you some other cool ways that our elbows can move, we're going to try it with a closed chain, which means I'm going to fix my hands to the floor. And if kneeling is too difficult for you, you can do this with like a table or a chair. You could stand up, put your hands on top of that. You could also do it against the wall. Okay, I'm going to demo down on the floor. The movement will be the same no matter which variation you choose. So hands are going to be fixed to the floor. And if you remember from last week, we want to focus on putting that pressure underneath this first knuckle. Our hands have arches just like our feet. So we're going to ground in through that arch into that first knuckle. And then from here, my elbow pit should be facing forward towards my fingertips. Okay, so that part that bends in the elbow there, that should be facing forward, fingertips forward. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate those inward so that my elbows can bend out to the side. And then I bring my elbows back towards my ribs and then push them towards the front, and that elbow pit should be facing forward again. Okay, so we're creating this circle with our elbows, rounding in at the wrist. So you're finding the movement freedom that your elbows still have, even with that closed chain of movement, with those hands being fixed. So we're getting some good fluid into the elbows, a little bit of extension for the wrist. Just improving the health of that joint. Good, deep bend in the elbows, point them outwards, tuck them in towards the ribs, and push through the floor to extend back up. Good, and then I want you to reverse it. So we're gonna point those elbows back first towards the ribs, extend them out towards the side, kind of chicken wing out, and then push into the floor to come back up and get those elbow pits forward. Good. Again, back to the ribs, out to the sides, push through the floor, elbow pits forward. Nice. We'll go 2 more. Go ahead and bring the elbows back to the ribs, out to the sides, and forwards. 1 more. Rotate around. Good. Go ahead and sit back, give them a little shake again. All right, we're gonna move up into our shoulders. So again, I was mentioning all the different ways that our shoulders can go, so we're gonna play around with a few of those. Our shoulders can elevate, okay? Those shoulder blades move up, which means they come up towards my ears, and then they can depress, which means I can pull them down my back, okay? So they can elevate and depress. Elevate and depress. Good, play around with this. Get them to lift as high as you can, and then pull them down your back as far as you possibly can. Elevate and depress. Elevate and depress. 1 more, elevate and depress. Good. And they can also protract and retract. So when they protract, my shoulders are gonna come forwards towards each other. So kind of that rounded top of the back, okay? My shoulder blades are separating from one another. And then they can retract, which means they're going to squeeze back together. So protract, they come away, retract, they come together. And just be aware of how much those ribs want to flare out when you retract. See if you can keep those ribs and hips in the same line here and in contact here, and just move through those shoulders. Protract, retract, protract, retract, protract, retract, protract, retract. Good, round out. Squeeze them together. We're gonna link all those together. So we're going to elevate, retract, depress, and protract. As deep as you can in each one of these positions. Elevate, retract, depress, and protract. We'll go 1 more. Elevate, retract, depress, protract. And then we're gonna reverse it, okay? Retract, elevate, protract, depress. Retract, elevate, protract, depress. 1 more. Retract, elevate, protract, and depress. Good. So it's like the shoulder circle, but you're getting really deep into each one of those positions. That was an open form of doing it, an open chain. Again, we can do this closed, keeping my elbows locked out, no movement there, and I can find those same positions here. So I can elevate and shrug those shoulders up towards my ears. I can retract, dropping my chest towards the floor. Elbows don't bend here. And then I can depress, pulling them down my back, and protract by pushing the floor away. So let's try that 1 more time. We're gonna elevate, squeeze those shoulders up to the ears, retract, dropping the chest to the floor, squeezing those shoulders together and elbows are straight. Depress the shoulders down the back, protract by pushing the floor away. Let's go 1 more, find your little rotation and try to smooth it out as much as you can. So no elbows bending here. Again, that's our point of stability. We want to keep the elbow from taking over and compensating for that movement that we want in our shoulders. Good, and then see if you can find the reverse. Change direction of that circle without letting the elbows bend. Elevate, protract, depress, and retract. Good. Give your brain a little break. How are you guys feeling? Thumbs up? All right, we're gonna go ahead and stand up for this next one. Shoulders should be feeling a little warm. Can you guys see me okay? All right. We're gonna play with relaxing that shoulder joint as well. Again, the more momentum and speed we can get through this, then the less tension we're holding up in our shoulders. So we're gonna start with the thumb reaching towards, I'm gonna start with my right arm and thumb reaching towards that left hip. Now I want to imagine like there's a wall in front of me and I can't touch the wall, okay? So we're gonna create this big circle in front, keeping that elbow straight. And again, you turn that palm at those last seconds when you need to, so move nice and slow and just figure out that range. Elbow stays straight, creating that circle in front. Good. And you've got both directions here, so you can reverse that circle in front. Go ahead and change direction. Again, imagine that wall in front of you that you can't touch. Good, and then sticking with that right arm, I want you to twist from the hips up. So you're gonna twist and look behind you. So I'm gonna change direction so you guys can see me. So you're gonna look behind you with that same arm. Again, I'm gonna imagine a wall behind me and I'm gonna create that circle behind me as well. Leading with that thumb up as far as I can, and then rotating with that pinky down to finish the circle. Little twist in the spine here to help. Good, and then change direction. So that palm's gonna start facing out first, lead with the thumb up, and then pinky down will finish. So reversing that circle. Good. One more. And let's do the same thing on our left side. So start with that circle in front. Again, elbows stay straight. Keeping that circle as close as you can to the body. Changing that palm's direction when you need to in that shoulder joint. Go ahead and reverse that circle. Keeping the elbows straight. Good. And then we'll try it to the back side. So you're going to twist and look behind you, left arm, create that circle. Again, imagine that wall right behind you that you can't touch. Good, and change direction. Excellent. And now we're gonna piece those two together. So again, I talked about the lymphatic system and those lymph nodes here in our armpits, and this is what's really gonna help push that fluid through. So you're gonna feel maybe a little tired after this, but you also feel really weirdly energized at the same time. Okay, the heart's gonna start pumping and it's pumping all that energy and that fluid through your body. So we're gonna create a figure eight with these circles. We're gonna link those two together. So I'm gonna start with my front circle. And then as that arm comes behind me, I'm going to look and reach towards the back and complete that circle behind me. So you're creating a figure eight with your arm by rotating everything from the waist up to reach behind you. Lead with the thumb, each directions. And again, here's where you can start to play with that tension in the shoulder. How fast can you let that arm fall through that range of motion? So the less tension you're holding the shoulder, the faster that arm should be able to fall. Like so much so you feel all that blood rushing to the fingertips. So feel free to speed it up as much as you'd like. Good, you can get a little twist in the neck by following the hand with the eyes. A little proprioception training here. If you get dizzy, just keep your eyes fixed on one spot. Good, and we're going to reverse that figure eight now. I'm gonna start with that circle behind me, come to the top, and circle down in front. So the reverse direction of that figure eight with that same arm. And again, play with the speed. How fast can you go? Keeping that elbow straight all the way through. Good. A couple more. Nice. Shake that arm out. Should feel a big difference between one arm to the other right now. And we're gonna go with that figure 8 on the opposite side as well. Start in direction, scooping down in front, reaching up. When I get to the top, I'm gonna twist behind and follow that circle through. Figure 8, circle in front, circle in back. Again, keeping that arm as close as you can to the body, and let all that tension release by picking up some speed. Use your hips to help you change direction. That'll help that shoulder relax. Good. And change directions. Swing to the back first. When you get to the front, scoop to the bottom. Twist to the back. Reverse the figure 8. Clicks and cracks and things are okay in the shoulder as long as you're not feeling any pain. Again, let that blood rush towards the fingertips. Get as much speed as you can. Go another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Shake it out. Give yourself another little pound on the chest if you need to. Little giggle. How do you guys feel? Go ahead and you can come off of mute. If you want to turn your video back on.